Good evening, and welcome to the first of hopefully many weekly Marvel news here at the Daily Bugle. My name is Josh, and today we have some pretty bad news. Jennifer Susan Walters, a lawyer and actress, was shot on her way home yesterday at 5:47 p.m. Sources say that Nicholas Trask was the one to pull the trigger, as Jennifer had been defending a gangster he had allegedly double-crossed. I'm being told, however, that her cousin Bruce Banner was able to give her a blood transfusion. Wait, so you mean there could be more than one Hulk running around, and this was all part of Marvel's plan for their upcoming She-Hulk show? Sony chairman Tom Rothman wants to continue the studio's deal with Disney and keep Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, after striking an unprecedented agreement to share the movie rights to the web-slinger in early 2015. Sony and Disney's partnership hit a snag last summer. As a result, the studios began preparing for Spider-Man to leave the MCU, rather than pressing forward as previously planned. However, after a couple weeks of highly publicized deal-making and one drunken phone call from Tom Holland to Disney CEO Bob Iger later, Sony and Disney were able to knock out a brand new agreement ahead of Spider-Man 3 starting production this year. It's generally agreed that Sony came out the winners in the new Spider-Man Marvel deal, whereas Disney will only receive a quarter of the profit while covering an equal percentage of the cost, and Sony now gets to use Holland's Spider-Man and the MCU in their upcoming spin-off films like Morbius and Venom 2. The latter is also building up to Holland playing Peter Parker in one or more of their Spidey villain movies, beginning with the heavily rumored cameo in Venom 2 this fall. Needless to say, Sony has plenty of reasons to want to keep the refurbished Disney deal going. Both Rothman and Disney head Alan Horn participated in a recent THR Studio executive roundtable, where naturally, the topic of the Sony-Disney Spider-Man deal came up. Let's go over to Josh down at the table and see what he has to say. Thanks, Josh. Mr. Rothman, you think that the partnership could continue beyond Spider-Man 3 and the mystery Sony film Holland is currently contracted to appear in?
I hope so. I think this was a classic win-win-win. I think it was a win for Sony. Yeah. I think it was a win for Disney, and I think it was a win for the fans and moviegoers. And the only thing I would say about it is that, you know, news cycles and the rhythm of negotiations do not necessarily overlap. Right. And I think we would have gotten there. And the news got ahead of some things. But we had 2 films and 4 years of a terrific relationship with Disney and an excellent creative partnership. And I could just say that, you know, we're very, very excited. And July of 2021 coming to a theater near you.
Mr. Horn, is there anything else you'd like to add?
What I would say is that the fan base, which is important to all of us, seemed to really respond to what Tom and his folks have done before with our people, and they like it. They like the fact that the MCU and Marvel Cinematic Universe and Kevin Feige were involved, and we heard feedback out there that suggested joining forces once again was probably really a good idea for that part of the world that's most important, which is the fan base.
Alright, well thank you very much. Back to you at the studio, Josh. While Sony may have come out as the bigger winners in their new deal with Disney, it's worth remembering that Disney is still getting a piece of the Spider-Man pie they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. By keeping Holland's web-slinger in the MCU, they've also got fan support working in their favor, in addition to a cut of the box office returns. Couple that with the fact that Disney owns the Spider-Man merchandising rights, and the studio has a comfortable firm grip on the property altogether, one they would no doubt prefer to maintain. As such, it's reasonable to assume that Sony and Disney will eventually find a way to continue their mutually beneficial partnership once Holland's MCU contract is up. Creatively speaking, the Sony-Disney deal is similarly good for Holland's run as Spider-Man. Rather than having to avoid any and all references to the MCU in Spider-Man 3, the film is free to build upon the cliffhanger in Spider-Man Far From Home's mid-credits scene in an organic manner. Furthermore, Sony's upcoming spin-offs like Morbius now have the rich lore of Marvel's shared universe to draw on, rather than having to operate separately, and more importantly, without Spider-Man. Their interactions with the MCU's Phase 4 slate will probably start out fairly one-sided in Morbius and Venom 2, but the spin-offs after that, like the mystery Sony Marvel film recently scheduled for 2021, have the potential to build on that foundation in more significant and meaningful ways. If you enjoyed the video or would like to see more of this, let me know. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you'll never miss another video. Thanks for watching, and remember that with great power comes great responsibility.